Hello, this is Chris Vaughn, and you're listening to the Chris Vaughn Podcast Life Relaunched. And we were doing something different. Was actually going to create Life Relaunched, and we actually have a whole different website, liferelaunch.com. You can go there. But was going to create it as a whole separate podcast, but decided to just make it Chris Life Relaunched Chris Vaughn. And Life Relaunched is looking at helping people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even in their 20s, recovering and coming back from what I'm just going to call a gut punch, something that sets you back, whether that be a divorce, a downsizing, problem in your job, something that causes you to possibly look backwards much more than you look forwards and wonder if there's anything left. If there's anything, I've had a couple. I'll tell those in future podcasts, but just mostly want to just encourage you that there is always another day. There's a great scripture in the Bible which says, "A whipping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." There's always another morning, and there always will be. And so I just want to encourage you that no matter what you're going through, it will get better. And that's what liferelaunched.com is about, to try to give you tools, motivation, encouragement to go forward and to truly go after your dreams, no matter how old you are. And it's never too late. It's never too late. And so I was thinking today, I was been reading some biographies, and anytime you go through a huge setback or something that really knocks the wind out of you, one of the things that happens, it seems, as you get older is you lose confidence. And confidence, when you have it, is one of the it's almost an intangible. I mean, you almost believe you can do anything, or that anything is possible. That no matter what it is, you can do it, and you have the ability to make it work. And when you lose that confidence, it almost comes at the price of everything. You get to the point that you just don't feel that you can do anything, that you'll ever make it, that you'll ever succeed, that you'll ever be of any value, or that you can ever give back. And so I was so I want to look at confidence for a minute. Um, again, if you've got some life experience, you've got something to build upon. You've got wisdom that whether that be job skills, relational skills, no matter what skill set you think you have or don't have, I promise you have more than you think. If you have a brain and you use it, you can learn from your mistakes. You have much more wisdom than you think you have. But confidence, once you lose it, it's sometimes hard to get back. Um, you have the thought you'll never do it again. You'll never succeed again. Got a friend, and he's lost two major multi-million fortunes. We were talking one time about it, and he was, both of them are like the three-digit millions, um, fortunes. And I asked him, I said, "Does it ever bother you?" He says, "No." He said, "I've done it before. I can do it again." And with almost a cockiness. But that was because he really kind of separated himself from that event, and he did not let that event define him. Great quote from a movie, that when a defining moment comes, you'll either define the moment or the moment will define you. The question is whether or not you let that moment define you. Maybe a momentary setback. It almost always is a momentary setback. There's always hope for the future. There's always a better day. And so, in looking at confidence, I want to talk about number one, you really have to begin to choose to believe in yourself. You have to dig deep. You really do. You have to look at your past successes, that you can celebrate, and you have to look at your failures and what you can learn from them. The old thing about Thomas Edison, and a lot of this is just what I call mindset change. Thomas Edison one time was asked by one of his proteges and ones who worked for him, said, "Mr. Edison, you've failed 10,000 times trying to discover the light bulb." He said, "I haven't failed 10,000 times. I've proven 10,000 ways that do not work." He said, "So those ways are proven." He says, "I've succeeded in proving those do not work." He said, "The question is finding the one that does." So Edison did not let 10,000 failures determine him or set him back. So you have to really choose to believe in yourself. And then one of the things you have to do is you have to go back to the fundamentals. I just read a great biography about Ken Venturi, and if you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, you may remember him as the voice of CBS Golf for like 35 years. Um, he was one of the most prolific and talented amateur golfers when amateur golf in America was still very, very strong and very, very celebrated. He almost won the Masters as an amateur, probably the only amateur to ever come that close. And it was a heartbreaking defeat. He actually uh, had three times he could have done very well at the Masters, and he never won the jacket. He never won the championship. And if you don't know about the Masters, you get a jacket when you win the championship, just to make sure that's clear. And he got really down on himself. This is like in the early 60s, and got to drinking bad. This is all in his biography. His marriage was not good. Money was drying up. One of his sponsors actually fired him and never told him about it and hired somebody else. And he said that hurt him deeply that they would do that without any, you know, conversation with him. He was a very integral man, a lot of integrity, but he got drinking really bad. Sitting in a bar, the bartender just challenged him, and he quit drinking right then. And he said what he did was, and there was another great golfer from the 40s by the name of Byron Nelson who had mentored Venturi when he was a young man. He went back, he got all of his notebooks of all the notes he had ever taken from Byron Nelson. They called him Lord Byron, and he began to practice. He went back to practicing. He said he just started working on his grip, his stance. Those are fundamentals in golf. His takeaway, his follow through. He began to just work on the fundamentals. And he worked and he worked and he worked and he got his game back. And in a surprising moment, he won the 1964 U.S. Open, which, as a kid, he would sit and play. And he said he never talked about winning the Masters. He never talked about winning the PGA Championship. He never talked to himself about winning the the Open Championship, which most people call the British Open, but that's the one that's played in England, um, or now the United Kingdom. He always, when he practiced putts, he would say, "Now for the to win the U.S. Open." He won it in 1964. How did he do it? He started back at the fundamentals. So no matter what your fundamentals are, go back to what you had. There's a great story in the Old Testament of a young man who was chopping wood with a borrowed axe, and he lost the axe in the water. And he runs to the prophet and he says, "You've lost the axe, and it's borrowed." And he said, the prophet told him, "Go back to where you last had it." And where he last had the edge, where he last had that axe head, he goes back, and the prophet, through a miracle, the axe head floated and he picked it up. He had to go back to where he had the edge. So go back to the fundamentals. And then the other part is when you're building your confidence back, start where you are and celebrate small wins. It doesn't come in a day. It doesn't come in a moment. It doesn't come in just a second. You have to do the small wins and celebrate them. Ken Venturi, he, I think his first check when he started working on his game again was just several $100s, but at least he placed in the money. That was his small win. At least he was getting back to where he was. So celebrate the small wins. And another one is keep looking ahead. Uh, Kind of another golf analogy. One of the greatest golfers ever was a man by the name of Ben Hogan. And they asked him one time, Mr. Hogan, somebody asked him, said, "How do you put the bad shots out of your mind?" And I love this analogy. He said, "Behind me, after every shot," he said, "there is this immovable, impenetrable wall that walks behind me as I walk through a golf course. When I hit a shot, that shot's done. That shot's over. I can't do anything about it. I can't fix it. I can't erase it. Can't do anything to redeem it. That is in the past." He said, "The only thing I can focus on is what I have before me and what I have in front of me. And what can I do now?" That's it. That is one of the best parallels to letting the past at last, and focusing on the future. So I want to tell you something. Build your confidence. Build some confidence. It may be a small win, but start where you are, go forward, and realize that your life can change for the better, and your life can be so much more than you think it is now. Get your confidence back. Hey, this is Chris Vaughn with liferelaunch.com. go to the website, check it out. Pretty soon we're going to be releasing a course on mindsets, um, 14 mindsets that will change your life. If you can change your mind in your mindsets in these 14 areas, it'll change your life. It'll be on our website, liferelaunch.com. You can go to that website, sign up for it early, and we will email you in it. And if you sign up early, we're going to release that for free. And so you can do that. Hey, this is Chris Vaughn. I want to encourage you to have a great week. And remember, you're anointed to win, empowered to prosper, and impossible to curse. And I'll see you next time.